Welcome to Brewing It Up, and I am your host, Dr. Sharon Reese. To my left we have
Cowboy Cam.
To my right we have
What's up, y'all? It's Morgan Trinity.
And all the way from the West Coast, Las Vegas, Nevada, we have
Lady Rob.
We are excited about having Lady Rob from Table Talk with Lady Rob with us on this month. She's going to be with us the entire month, and we're really excited about it. But today, let's talk about today's topic.
Come on.
Today's topic is sex and society.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, we're in a time where everybody wants to be satisfied. Can we be honest?
That's
We can
true.
be honest.
We're either going to be single, satisfied, and celibate, or we're going to be sexual and satisfied. Take your pick. Which one are you? So, when we talk about being satisfied, a lot of people want to talk about, the different ways that somebody can satisfy them sexually. We can talk about everything from, can we say it on television, oral sex, to, I mean, it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
We can talk about everything from oral sex to STDs to love languages. Let's talk about it all today. Let's open it up. So, in order to get started, we're going to talk about you guys. Can I put you guys on the hot seat today?
Okay.
Hot seat.
I'm ready.
Well, when I think about sex and society today, I want to know, how do you feel about sex and society, Choir Boy Cam?
Well, I truly feel like, since we're talking about being satisfied in the world today, I mean, there's an old saying that used to be said all the time, and it's like, lay down with dogs, you might get up with fleas.
Get up
you know
with
what I'm
fleas.
saying? Listen, you have to understand, just because it might feel good doesn't mean that it's good for you. I mean, when we look at statistics from 2021, I think it was like 1.6 million people that were diagnosed with chlamydia. I mean, today we call it the clap. So I'm saying, like, these are the things that are happening in the world today. So it's like, before we even talk about being satisfied, we really need to think of that old saying, lay down with dogs, you might get up with fleas.
Well, I mean, we talk about chlamydia, but there are also long-lasting diseases that you can get up with that you cannot wash off, and medication you can medicate the symptoms, but you cannot get rid of, such as HIV and AIDS and herpes. These are very real diseases that people are spreading every day. Some of them even know they're spreading diseases, not realizing that they can be sued.
Our shot.
Wow. So, when we talk about those things, we also have to think about the fact that when we say we want to be satisfied, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you, Morgan Trinity?
To me, being satisfied is really not my number one thing when it comes to being, because I am a pleaser. I'm not just somebody who's looking for somebody to satisfy my needs. So I wouldn't necessarily be looking for satisfaction from whoever I'm with.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction.
Yes. So when we talk about satisfaction, one of the things that probably Kim was mentioning was there are other ways to be satisfied. And when I think about that, I think about the book that came up a couple of years ago, and it was a bestseller, The Five Love Languages. And the reality is so many people love physical touch. I mean, who doesn't love to hold hands walking down the street, or hold hands sitting in the movies, or kiss when you get out of your car and everything, just making a statement, not to everybody else, but to each other.
But
it
it's
just
so
shows.
much more than that. You
Okay.
have words of affirmation.
Affirmation.
Gifts. What else?
Acts of service. Quality time. All of these things are very important when you talk about relationships.
Right.
But if we be honest, everybody doesn't want a relationship. So, listen, we have to pay the bills around here. Let us take a break. We'll be right back.
It's the 10th annual Ladies and Gentlemen in Pink Breast Cancer Awareness Concert, happening Sunday, October the 29th at Morris Chapel Baptist Church, located 530 Baptist Avenue, Greenwood, South Carolina. On program, the Dixon Sisters of Belton, South Carolina. Floyd Johnson and the Silver Tones. Purpose of Wear Shows. It's the 10th annual Ladies and Gentlemen in Pink Breast Cancer Awareness Concert. Also on program is the sensational Gospel Eagles. Nancy Henry and the Anointed Voices. Anointed Generation of Asheville, South Carolina. The Anointed Henry Sisters of Belton, South Carolina. And featuring our special guest, the Joy Lights. Our master of ceremony for the evening will be Pastor Timothy Wilkins. Again, it's the 10th annual Ladies and Gentlemen in Pink Breast Cancer Awareness Concert happening Sunday, October the 29th at Morris Chapel Baptist Church, located 530 Baptist Avenue, Greenwood.
Tune in to the Quartet Show every Sunday at 8 p.m. with the Godfather Quartet, Brother Corey Johnson, on WCTL Channel 20. Come on and get you some of that good old hand-clapping, foot-stomping music. Again, that's the Quartet Show with the Godfather Quartet, Brother Corey Johnson.
And we're back to Brewing It Up with Dr. Sharon Reese. And we're talking about sex and society. So before we took a break, we were actually talking about the love languages and things that satisfy us. Let me ask you guys a question. What about standards these days? What about standards? Because now, to be honest, not everybody wants to be in a relationship. Not everybody wants, if we're honest about it, not everybody even wants to have sex, you know? They don't want to take a chance of having children before they're ready, or children outside of wedlock. People have career paths and goals that they're focused on these days. So not everybody is focusing on having quote unquote sex. So let's talk about the standards. What are your standards?
For one, I think it's very important to have standards because in my generation, they have a really bad habit of walking around wearing masks. So you really don't know who you talking to, who you're fornicating with. So I feel like it's very important to have standards when it comes to who you're gonna lay down with. Like me, personally, I'm not gonna lay down with you if I don't see myself being with you. If you don't have some type of business about yourself or, you know, something like that, it's all about mindset with me and like your demeanor and everything when it comes to life.
I think Morgan made a good point with the mask thing. I feel like when you first meet somebody, literally they're showing you a representation of what they really want you to know about them. It's like, okay, so I might feel like I'm satisfied with you day one, but by week two, I'm like, I can't stand you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to be around you.
Wait a minute. I have to play the devil's advocate because those of you who have seen us on talk shows before, you know that my husband and I got married right after we met. I mean, we literally met and got married a couple of days later. We did not have sex before we were married, and we are still happily married.
Well, I think y'all are an anomaly, okay? Everybody is not like that. Also, there's a bit of an age difference at the table.
Well,
I mean,
wait a minute.
let's keep it real. Listen. I like to think, for me, and I feel like I can speak for a few people my age as well, not everyone, but I feel like I would like to have a foundation first. It might take time. Not saying that it's taking years to get to know somebody, but I would like to know you to a certain extent before I want to walk that journey with you. I want to make sure that my feet are under my legs before I decide to walk.
Okay, wait a minute. I gotta jump in. Listen, I'm gonna try it before I bite.
Wow.
Okay? I'm gonna try it before I bite. I hear what you're saying. I'm not mad that that's your foundation. I believe in a foundation too. But when I married my husband, I got married. I met him 3 weeks later. We was married. We was married for 26 years before he died.
Well, how old were y'all?
I was 22 years old. So I was your age. I was your age. But what I knew about what I wanted was I didn't want to be out there playing. I didn't want an STD. I didn't want a sexually transmitted disease or a spiritually transmitted disease. I didn't know what he was putting inside of me. I needed to know that it was who I was supposed to be with. So love wasn't even a factor when I got married. Purpose was my factor.
I have to agree with you because when my husband and I met, you know, of course we weren't in love with each other because we had just met.
Exactly.
But we had the same things in common. We wanted the same things. We wanted to be in a relationship, in a marriage where we were actually doing it right.
Right.
And you know what? Your idea of right may not be my idea of
True.
right, you know?
True.
But to me, doing it right was being in a marriage where there is a two-parent, same-sex household and in love.
I don't think you meant same sex.
I mean, I didn't mean to say that.
She definitely meant opposite sex.
Opposite
y'all.
sex.
She definitely
Now,
meant.
y'all know I
It's
didn't
a
mean to say
man and a
that.
woman. We
Y'all
got to have
know
it. We
I
got to
didn't mean to
multiply.
say that. My bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
But so we wanted the same thing, and so we got married, and it's been working for us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's been all, you know, we have our ups and downs, but it's been good. It's been real good. So, you know, I'm so excited to have you on the show, Lady Rock, and to hear about your witness and how things work with you and your husband, because it was pretty much the same with me and mine. So you guys feel like you have to be in a relationship for 10 years,
4 or
I
5
feel like
you know,
it's
before you
like-
get married. I mean, really?
It's
Come
like
on.
that because we're in a different generation,
Yes.
for one.
Please explain.
Our generation is really on a different level from when y'all was growing up. I mean, y'all can see
No,
that,
that's
actually.
old.
I'm not calling y'all old.
I think they're calling
well,
us
but you
old.
know,
They're calling us
Morgan,
old.
Morgan, also at the same time, I don't know if our generation is on like a different level. I feel like that generation was like pretty rough.
Yeah.
I think y'all were pretty out there,
Yeah.
but y'all don't put it out there that y'all was out there.
Oh,
That's
I feel like in
That's
this generation,
That's
no,
true.
I feel like in this generation, what it is that everybody's just so open and transparent
Yes.
and an open book.
We were
That's the
open and
difference.
transparent.
Oh, my God.
Okay, we're gonna talk
We
about
gotta come back.
transparency. We're coming back. We're coming back. Let us take a break. And we're back to Brewing It Up with Dr. Sharon Reese. Listen, they just called us old, and I have a problem with
I
that.
do too.
I have a major
Yeah,
problem
I'm
with
not
that.
saying old, just seasoned.
Oh, that's a better
So-
way of
so
calling
you're
us
trying-
old?
right,
No,
right,
I
right.
don't think so.
No, you say that you all are more transparent
Than
today
we were.
than we were back then.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the reality is that is so not factual,
Right.
okay? Because
Classic.
back then we were just who we were. We were, if we were gonna be out there, we were out there, and we made no bones about it. We weren't gonna be letting you make us ashamed
Come on.
I
of
do
who we are,
not
what we were doing.
agree.
Let me
I
tell
agree.
you, when I was doing me, I was doing me, and I was happy about doing me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but again, that's not everyone that was in your generation. People made mistakes in your generation and were literally shamed because of it.
Now that's true.
Exiled from the church
That's
because
true.
of it. It's like in today's age, I believe that since everybody is so open and out there with what they're doing right now, then there's not so much pushback, or nobody's really being exiled, you know, from the church or from a group of people. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's just a completely different generation. Y'all had to hide a lot more than people today feel like they have to hide.
That's true, but I also feel like today's society has no accountability. Nobody's holding y'all accountable.
I agree.
So it's okay to get pregnant as a teen. Listen, I was the teenage mother that had to stand up in the church and apologize, and I was shunned, and it kept me away from the church for a very long time. But through that process, I learned that I was enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like I learned that couldn't stop me from my destiny.
Right.
My past, my history couldn't stop my destiny. So I kept moving.
Yeah.
Right? And so now today, it's like if we say something, say Morgan Trinity come in and I don't like what she got on. If I was to say something to her, what would be your response? Clap back.
Yes.
Come on, be honest, keep it 1,000.
It's true.
Right?
Our generation don't play. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
They real,
right.
real
So when
snappy
we
though.
look at y'all sometime in our generation, we like, maybe y'all not having sex, but y'all look sexual.
Here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people in our generation feels like the way that you all approach the situation. Because I feel like a lot of times, you know, you guys from y'all's generation, y'all were showing out, y'all were doing what y'all do, right? But to our generation, it's like, you know you should not be doing this, you should not be doing that. But you know that you struggled with the same thing when you were our age.
Right.
So I feel like that is where the disconnect comes in, because yes, hold me accountable, but also understand you've been here before.
But we don't want y'all to follow what we've been through.
I agree.
It's almost like I see you falling off the ledge, and I'm trying to catch you before you actually fall.
But sometimes it's needed to fall off the ledge, especially for people in our generation to learn and to grow.
Right, y'all fell?
Y'all did.
So we did. We fell, but we got up. And I think that's the most important thing about it, is getting back up. So you guys talk about our generation versus your generation, but truthfully, I believe it's not so much about the generation gap as it is about the moral standards.
Yes.
We went through a period, and I think it's just a growth period for everybody. You know, you have to go through growing up, and there are growing pains with growing up. Everybody goes through them. You know, one of the crazy things about me was when I was 16, I got pregnant. It wasn't a secret. It was the talk of the town because I was singing and I was in the church, you know, as much as I could be in the church with everything that was going on in my life. But they made such a big deal about it. But guess what? The church that I was attending, they weren't the ones that made the big deal about it. Sure. It was the local music industry that I was in that made the big deal about it. So having said that, I really didn't care what anybody else had to think about me or what they had to say about me at that point, because things like that is what leads to low self-esteem. It breaks you down in ways that you could never even imagine. So when y'all start talking about generational barriers, I don't think that's the case at all. I think we just have to get down to it and say, now it's time for us to establish standards as people again.
That's good.
Women need to be ladies,
That's
and
good.
men need to be men.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
I agree.
So, having said that, Lady Rob, talk to me. Tell me. Now, I'm sure you've met some guys that were not men.
Period.
When you meet guys that are not men, yet and still the first thing they want to do is get you between the sheets, how do you respond to that?
See, I have this thing about myself. Whether or not I have a standard for who they are, I have a standard for who I am.
Right.
And my standard will not be lowered because they throw money, because they inboxing me, because they trying to get me on social media, because they trying to take me somewhere. I got my own bag. And I'm INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? I got my own car.
Hey!
Got my own house.
Hey!
2 cars. Okay, anyway. I'm saying, so it's copyright, not for me. I'm stealing it. I'm sorry. No, seriously though, I'm not so independent though that I'm not submissive.
Right. Oh, wow.
I'm independent, but I'm submissive, not just to a man, but to the will of God for my life.
I like
And
that.
so-
I like that. So we talking about being submissive to the will of God for our lives, but we're also talking about sex and society.
Yes.
There's so much going on in this
Yeah.
conversation. Let me tell you, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm looking forward to what's next. So we have
Yes.
to take a break. We got to pay the bills again.
Yes.
Come on, y'all. We'll see you back in just a few minutes.
I'm Mac Hardy. Come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We open Tuesday through Saturday from 7:30 to 5. And we specialize in oil, tires, and brakes, wheelbarrows, CV axles. And but Middle Church Discount is every day. And on the Wednesday we have Senior Citizen Day. So come on down to McCormick Tire and Oil. We got everything you need. Thank you.
It's the 10th annual Ladies and Gentlemen in Pink Breast Cancer Awareness Concert happening Sunday, October the 29th at Morris Chapel Baptist Church, located 530 Baptist Avenue, Greenwood, South Carolina. On program, the Dixon Sisters of Belton, South Carolina, Floyd Johnson and the Silver Tones, Purpose of Wear Shows. It's the 10th annual Ladies and Gentlemen in Pink Breast Cancer Awareness Concert. Also on program is the sensational Gospel Eagles, Nancy Henry and the Anointed Voices, Anointed Generation of Asheville, South Carolina, the Anointed Henry Sisters of Belton, South Carolina, and featuring our special guest, the Joy Lights. Our master of ceremony for the evening will be Pastor Timothy Wilkins. Again, it's the 10th annual Ladies and Gentlemen in Pink Breast Cancer Awareness Concert happening Sunday, October the 29th at Morris Chapel Baptist Church, located 530 Baptist Avenue, Greenwood, South Carolina. For more information, call 864-659-0.
We're back to Brewing It Up. Listen, we've been talking about this sex and society thing on today, but I really got to get into this because we're winding down with the show and we have to bring it all to a close in just a few minutes. Let me ask you, what is the difference between your sexual needs and your sexual desires?
Ooh.
Don't ask me first.
Okay.
Don't ask me first.
Okay, I get it. Listen, my desire is my want. What do I want? I want to be fulfilled in every area of my body in that bed. I don't want anything left out. I mean, from the top of my head to the very soles of my feet. I want to be satisfied, okay? What do I need? I need intimacy to get to that point. If you don't give me intimacy, if you don't share, if there's not, watch this, I know it's a talk show, so if there's not foreplay, then I won't play.
Well, my husband always talks about making love to the mind.
Period. That's what
He
I'm
always
talking about.
tells me, you know, people want to just jump into the bed, but nobody wants to make love to the mind anymore.
Oh.
What is making love to the mind? Making love to the mind is, it starts when you wake up in the morning, when you tell them,
Yes.
even when the breath is bad, and you
Come
can
on.
say, baby, you look so good. I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? How do you make love to the mind, girl? How do you make love to the mind? See, y'all don't think about making love to the mind. They're talking about generations.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like explain a little bit more what you mean, like making love to the mind, because I feel like me personally, I feel like when I walk into a room of 5 women, probably 2 out of the 5 might think Cam is I might like Cam. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. But no, maybe 3 out of the 5.
True.
Oh, okay.
But what I want you to kind of explain what you mean, like making love to the mind, because like I said, when you first meet somebody, you're showing them what it is that you want them to see.
But not everybody
mind.
is putting up this facade. Some
Right.
people are genuinely looking for something that is real.
Yes.
Something that is tangible, yet
Yes.
emotional, yet hot and
Yes.
sensual, all those
All
things
of it.
in one.
Yes.
And for those people who are looking for that, They don't have time to be playing games. What they're doing is saying, look, this is who I am. Like
Take
me,
it
love
or
me,
leave
or
it.
leave me.
That's it.
That's what it
That's
is.
it.
So when I talk about making love to the mind, I'm talking about make me love you, make me want
Yes.
you, make me want to be with you on every level. So when we
Yes.
talk about making love to the mind, you all talk about, the generation gap, but has this generation learned how to make love to the mind?
I would say yeah.
I would say
yeah.
I would say
One thing that you don't understand about this generation is we are smart. We are
And
wise.
we're not.
And
No,
we're
not saying that
Oh my
y'all
God.
aren't.
First we old,
But
now we
I'm not saying that y'all aren't smart. But what I am saying is, while my significant other is telling me what she's telling me in that moment, I'm already like making a list in my head. I have my phone out making a list. I'm making sure that I know these things, understand what makes her happy, what makes her cry, what makes her sad, all those different types of things. That is how you make love to the mind. I know you on every single level. And it's because I listen to you.
But do you know what makes my
Yeah,
spirit leap?
Right.
Yes.
That's the mind. Like the mind is the purpose. Who am I without sex? Who am I without you touching me? Who am I? Because if you can learn who I am without that and touch that, that's making love to our
the
mind.
Right, but I think that goes back to what I said, the conversation.
Yeah.
Even in the conversation, I'm
Sure.
mentally making notes. I'm making sure that I know all of these things that make your soul leap, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm making sure
He
that
said
I'm taking
whatever
the
that
notes
is.
of all of
You'll
these
know.
things. That way, like you will feel. If we don't work out, it's gonna be hard for you to find somebody like me because I've made love to your mind.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? I've taken the time to get to know you in every single way. Something that not
That's right.
everybody is going to just take
That's
the time
true.
to do. Now, if they really love you, if they're really attracted to you, if they
Right.
really see a future with you, yes.
They're gonna put in
But
the time.
again, we're living in a generation where not everyone wants to go to that next step with somebody.
Wow.
That's right. That's
And
right.
why don't we want to go, Morgan Trinity, to that next step? Why is it okay to be in a relationship and not be married? I don't understand.
It takes me back to what I said the first time with putting on a mask and putting on a facade and being who you really are not. In our society, they have a bad habit of doing that. And that's really why most of the marriages do not work out these days. They're getting married prematurely and then you figure out you don't even know the person who you're actually married to.
Well,
Wow.
to be honest, you can be married for 10 years and you're still learning that person.
Every
because
year.
the person is supposed to grow as they go. And if
Yeah.
you're growing with them, then you're being introduced to a new person
them.
all the time. And so if you're growing with them,
That's
then
it.
you should want to love the person that they're becoming. And even when you don't like them, you still have to love them. And even when it gets to the point where the sex ain't all that, you still gotta love them. Listen,
Wow.
I
That's
know
good.
this has been a
Oh
great
my
week
God,
here
that's so good.
at Brewing It Up with Dr. Sharon Reese and all of my guests on today. We're coming back next week and we're gonna have another hot topic,
Yes.
and that topic is contentious blended families.
Oh, I
You
got that.
will not
I
want
got
to
that.
miss this
Oh,
one.
because I'm blended.
I'm blended, honey. Ooh, I'm all blended. I'm
blended.
all blended. Mix it up.
Oh,
mix
but
it
this
up,
new
mix it up.
generation, do you want to be blended?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about it next week. Tune in next week.